Hello, book lovers. Welcome to Audiobook Nest. Today, I'd like to talk about one of the 3 books that changed my life, A Passion for Success, by Kazuo Inamori. He is a renowned Japanese entrepreneur, management expert, and philanthropist. Starting his entrepreneurial journey at the age of 27, he managed to elevate 2 companies to the ranks of the Fortune Global 500 over a span of 40 years, a feat unparalleled anywhere else in the world. Achieving even one Fortune Global 500 company is a rare accomplishment, let alone 2. Inamori is particularly known for 2 books on values, A Compass to Fulfillment and A Passion for Success. While A Compass to Fulfillment explores the meaning of life, A Passion for Success reveals the significance of work. Today, let's delve into A Passion for Success, which is all about how to work efficiently, to improve oneself, one's employees, and one's company. Chapter 1: No one is forever unlucky. As many of you may know, Japan has entered an era without clear direction. Society has plunged into confusion, with many individuals unsure of why they work anymore. A significant number have lost sight of the true meaning of work. Some believe that hard work and dedication hold little to no value, while others seek easy riches through stocks and lotteries. Additionally, there are those who embark on entrepreneurship solely for the purpose of making money, hoping for financial freedom at a young age. These trends have led to a distortion of societal values, even fostering a sense of restlessness. In this book, Inamori Kazuo will enlighten us on the essence of work and guide us on how to properly understand its significance. First off, the author believes that work is a panacea for all ills. Through work, one can overcome various challenges and trials, leading to a turning point in life. Life is often full of hardships. We typically spend our days amidst adversity. However, the author contends that the only way to confront hardship is through work. Therein lies great power in work, capable of helping you overcome the challenges of fate. The author illustrates this point with their own story. In their youth, they faced misfortune. They failed their middle school entrance exams, contracted tuberculosis, and nearly lost their life. Despite this, they persevered and attempted the middle school entrance exams again while still ill, only to fail once more. Later, their family home was reduced to ruins by war. Most people would have despaired in such circumstances. However, when the war ended, the author barely managed to enroll in an ordinary local university. Despite studying diligently, they faced repeated job rejections after graduation. Ultimately, they found work at a small, struggling ceramic battery factory on the verge of collapse. To make matters worse, they didn't receive their wages during their first month on the job. At 23 years old, the author felt as though death was knocking at their door. They were overwhelmed by a sense of despair, feeling as though they were cursed by misfortune. However, he refused to accept his fate and instead resolved to work hard and take another shot at life. Subsequently, life indeed began to change for the better. The author emphasizes that only through long-term and unremitting work can one temper their mind and develop a strong character, enabling them to navigate life with stability and resilience. Thus, work is not merely about earning income but rather about honing one's determination and character. In essence, how well one performs in their job will determine their status and whether they earn the respect of others. An employee who works diligently and achieves fruitful results deserves the admiration of their colleagues. The concepts of labor differ between Japan and the West. In Western thought, labor is often viewed as a punishment. Adam and Eve were expelled from the Garden of Eden after eating the forbidden fruit and had to work for a living. However, this notion does not exist in Japanese history. Japanese people have always approached work with pride. For example, many skilled craftsmen pursue their craft not for profit but to create works of art that approach perfection. This, in fact, reflects traditional Japanese culture. However, with increasing westernization in recent years, Japanese attitudes toward labor have begun to shift, and work is now often perceived as a burden by many. During his childhood, the author's parents always taught him that the hardships of youth were worth paying for, but at the time, the author completely failed to understand this sentiment. He thought that it would be best to sell off hardships if possible. However, his perspective changed when he took a job at a small factory on the brink of collapse. This factory, named Matsuke's Industries, initially was a successful enterprise, but it gradually fell into disrepair, with unpaid wages becoming a common occurrence. Colleagues in the factory often grumbled and felt they shouldn't be there, but it seemed there was nowhere else to go. The author himself only managed to get into the factory through connections, but instead of feeling grateful, he harbored more complaints than anyone else. A year later, almost all of the company's employees had left, leaving only him and one other person. So, they both decided to apply to the Self-Defense Forces Officer Candidate School and not waste any more time at the factory. Both of them passed the exams, but when it came time to complete the enrollment procedures, he waited in vain for a copy of his household register to arrive from home. Tragically, his colleague was admitted smoothly, while he was rejected. Later, he found out that his older brother from his hometown was angry, thinking that he had used his connections to get him into the factory, but then he had resigned. So, in the end, he was the only one left in this broken-down factory. It was at this point that he made a crucial decision. This decision ultimately led to a turning point in his life. He had no choice but to stay in this dilapidated company. Later, he realized a crucial point: if he truly wanted to leave, he needed a reason. He couldn't just tell the next employer that he left because he was unhappy with the previous one. So, he had to do his current job well and then find a selling point for himself. This actually aligned with my viewpoint. I often encouraged his colleagues internally to change jobs for better development, but he hoped they would sell themselves at a high price when they were at their best. He wanted them to leave in style, not in disgrace. Only by excelling in their current job could they demand a higher price in the next one. I had followed this path, always leaving a job at its peak. He never waited until he performed poorly before thinking about changing jobs, as even if he did find a new job, it wouldn't yield good results. Once the author understood this principle, he began to focus on his work. From then on, his attitude changed. He no longer worked for the crumbling factory but started working to polish his resume. Everything changed completely. His task was to research cutting-edge ceramic materials. He moved all his daily necessities into the laboratory and began to devote himself to his work. Not only did he work diligently, but he also subscribed to the most professional magazines worldwide to improve his expertise. Some of these magazines were entirely in English, so he had to look up words in the dictionary while learning English and then delve into specialized knowledge. In this way, he worked eagerly for several years, and a miracle happened. A self-taught researcher, he achieved many research results and became a rising star in the field of inorganic chemistry. After being recognized multiple times by others, he felt that the factory wasn't so bad after all, and the work seemed interesting. Sometimes people are like this. Sometimes you feel that work is meaningless, but in reality, you just lack recognition from others. If someone thinks highly of you, you will be quite interested and continue to widen the gap. That's why it's often found that some people become stronger in certain fields and eventually become experts. So, it's true what they say, interest is the best teacher. So how do you gain interest? It's through praise from others. Sometimes you need to push yourself, to lift yourself out of the average. Just like you, who are currently studying, in 2 to 3 years, you will fall in love with reading because you are already much stronger than the average person. When discussing big picture or management topics, others will surely look up to you. This strong self-confidence will gradually transform into interest. Soon, the author accepted a task to research a new material called forsterite, which had excellent insulation properties. It was said to be ideal for use in television cathode ray tubes, but there was no precedent for synthesizing this material. This work presented a significant challenge. He worked day and night on this, conducting experiments and learning from repeated failures. Finally, he succeeded in creating it. Here's a miraculous story. He had been pondering how to solve the adhesive problem with forsterite for a long time, trying many materials without success. One day, he stumbled over something in the laboratory and found his shoe covered in pine resin. At first, he was annoyed at whoever had left this lying around, but then inspiration struck. He mixed ceramic materials with pine resin in a pot, heating and blending them together, and amazingly, it worked. He believed it was a divine hint, perhaps because he had been working too hard, and even God couldn't bear to see it. At that time, only General Electric in the United States and this small, struggling factory owned the capability to synthesize this material, so it attracted enormous attention. Orders from Panasonic flooded in, revitalizing the struggling factory. At this moment, he realized a truth: even in adversity, as long as you work hard and persist without giving up, incredible luck can come your way. Many years later, when he looked back on the first half of his life, enduring hardships and entering such a broken factory might have made others pity him, but it was precisely these experiences that transformed his life. Without experiencing hardship, going to a prestigious school, entering a large corporation, he might have just coasted along. There wouldn't be the current Soichiro Honda. The Japanese business world would also have lost a patriarchal figure. Everyone has inertia and desires to get something for nothing, but whether you dislike work or not, the reality forces you to work hard, or else you won't even have food to eat. So many people's jobs are actually forced upon them, being forced to enter a company they don't like. This seems unfortunate, but the author says it's actually a stroke of great luck. How is that? We'll continue talking about it in next chapter. If you like Audiobook Nest, please subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss my updates.